In this video, I'm going to show you how to combine, merge, and integrate different Notion dashboards together using my LifeOS and my Habit Tracker Hub as an example, which can be found down in the description below. And if you want to know how to transfer database entries from one database to another, then make sure to check out the video that's linked in the card above and in the description below. So the first question is, what is a Notion dashboard? A dashboard is a collection of individual systems, aesthetically organized in a way that makes it easy to see all the important information and allows you to quickly manage, track, and create new database entries. So for example, inside my LifeOS, we have a clock widget, a section for quickly creating new database entries, a graph visualizing the progress of your habits, project and task management, a calendar showing your tasks, projects, habits, and finances, a section for quickly capturing notes, which is also synced with your phone, and then an areas database, which is where you can organize all of your individual Notion templates. So the LifeOS is a dashboard that sort of acts as a container for all of these individual Notion templates and systems. So instead of having all of these individual templates in your sidebar and using these toggles to open and close them, you have everything inside of one page. So the only reason to use the sidebar is to click on the dashboard because everything is inside of that one dashboard. So if I, for example, click on Finance Tracker, you'll see that this page is a template in of itself. So here you have an overview, the actual finance tracker, bank accounts, subscription tracker. And if I go back and, for example, click on Meal Planner, then this is where you can add stuff to your shopping list, track your macros, add recipes and ingredients, and the same goes for all the other templates. These are individual systems, but it's organized into this one main dashboard. So what happens if you already have a dashboard and you get another one, like for example the Habit Tracker Hub, which is focused around habits, and you want to, for example, have this habit tracking system inside the LifeOS or have the LifeOS areas database inside of the Habit Tracker Hub? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to share in this video. And just before we start, all the templates and tutorials and walkthroughs of everything I mentioned in this video will be linked in the description below. So if you want to, for example, get this dashboard for yourself or learn how to build it, then just check the links in the description. The first step is identifying which dashboard has the most relations, rollups, and formulas attached, because that one will be a lot more difficult to recreate. So we'll be using that dashboard as the base. So in this case, it will be the Habit Tracker Hub, because this one has a lot more relations, rollups, and formulas, and trying to recreate everything is going to be much more of a hassle than trying to recreate the LifeOS. So the next step is going to be to transfer the LifeOS inside the Habit Tracker Hub dashboard. So to do this, you can either right click on the dashboard, click on Move To, and then select your base dashboard. Or an alternative method is if your dashboard is inside the sidebar. So if I just go here and drag the LifeOS inside of the sidebar and then go back to the Habit Tracker Hub, now I can just simply drag the LifeOS into the Habit Tracker Hub dashboard. Now once you've added in your dashboard, simply just drag it to the bottom of your page. Then above the dashboard, simply add in a divider by using 3 minus symbols just so we can separate the two dashboards. And before you do any of this, I would recommend right clicking on the dashboard and clicking on duplicate in order to make a copy in case you mess anything up. Now once you've added in your dashboard page, what you want to do is you want to right click, click on Turn Into, and then select text. And then you just want to click on the name, highlight it, click on backspace, and then click backspace one more time. And as you can see, our LifeOS dashboard is now inside the same page as the Habit Tracker Hub. Now inside of both dashboards, you want to just define what you want to keep and what you want to remove, and then just deleting anything that's unnecessary or duplicates. So for the LifeOS, we're going to delete this Habit Tracker system because we're going to use the one inside the Habit Tracker Hub. And we're also going to delete the project and task management system because the Habit Tracker Hub already has one built in. But we might want to keep these views and also use the same template buttons. So for now, we're going to keep this as it is until we've made the changes to the Habit Tracker Hub's project and task management. And everything else we're going to keep for the LifeOS. And then also at the bottom, you'll see there's a toggle with backend, which are the backend databases that you should not delete. But in this case, we don't need this Habit Tracker one, so we can just go ahead and delete that. And then this area groups database is for this area section, business, personal, and library. And we're going to keep this obviously in. So we're just going to drag this into the database toggle of the Habit Tracker Hub, which is the Habit Tracker Hub's original databases. And once we've done that, there's no need for this toggle anymore, so we can just go ahead and delete that. Now let's do the same for the Habit Tracker Hub dashboard. So the stuff we're going to delete from the Habit Tracker Hub is going to be this good habits, bad habits, and page section. So the reason for this is we're going to simply drag these pages inside of this areas database in order to organize all of our templates. So we no longer need this page section. And as for the habit buttons, it is nice to just be able to click a button and mark your habit as complete, but it takes up a lot of space and we don't actually need it to mark our habits as complete, though we are going to keep it inside the mobile habits page because it is nice to have a widget on your phone that you can just click on and then click on the buttons to mark your habits as complete. But at the moment, these are just synced blocks. They're not the original ones. So we're simply going to delete these. Then we're going to go back to the dashboard and then we're going to just highlight both of these blocks and then just drag them into the mobile habits page. Now, if we click on this page, you'll see that we have the original blocks here. And because these are not syncing to other blocks anymore, we can just click on the menu and then click on unsync all. And then we're going to do the same for the bad habits. And now these are just callout boxes with buttons inside and they aren't syncing to any other blocks. Now that this is done, we can go back to the dashboard and now let's start with the individual Notion templates. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back down to the LifeOS dashboard, and because this area's database is inside of a callout box, I'm able to drag this database and just drop it wherever I want. So these callout boxes aren't just for aesthetics, it actually has functionality as well. And now that these two are on top of each other, I can now much more easily drag and drop these templates inside of the relevant group. So these first 4 pages, I'm going to add inside of the personal group. The finance tracker, I'm going to add inside of business, and then the bookshelf and the mobile habits page, I'm going to add into library. Now that all of our templates has been added into this area's database, I can go ahead and delete this section. Now, if I open up each of these toggles to show all the templates, you'll notice that we now have duplicates. So for example, we have 2 finance trackers, 2 goal trackers, 2 meal planners, etc. So depending on which dashboard you used first, you're going to just delete the extra finance tracker, for example. So if you've tracked all of your finances inside the finance tracker that came with the LifeOS, you're going to delete the finance tracker that came with the habit tracker hub. And the same goes for the goal tracker, fitness planner, and meal planner, as well as the bookshelf. Now inside of library, I'm also going to delete this habit tracker because we're going to use the one from the habit tracker hub. And here you'll also notice we now have 2 pages for our phone. This first page is for the habits. So this is the one with the good and bad habit buttons. And then the second one is from the LifeOS, which has a button to quickly log an expense into your finance tracker. And it also has a quick note section. So you can just click this button to add a note. And then if you go to the note section of your LifeOS dashboard, then you'll see that the note will show up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the mobile habits page into this one, but I can just drag and drop it in because these are considered database entries because it's inside of a database. So what I have to do is I have to right click on move to, and then find the phone notes page and then just click on it. And now if I open up this, you'll see that our mobile habits page is now inside. And now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to right click, turn into, and then text. And then I'm going to highlight this text, click on backspace, and then click backspace one more time. And as you can see, our good and bad habit buttons are now added inside of this page. So now if you have this page as a widget on your phone, you can quickly take notes, you can log expenses, and you can also mark your daily habits as complete. All right, now let's start with the project and task management. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another view to this calendar database for our finances so that it looks the same as the one in the LifeOS. So because this is a linked view database and not an original, like the project and task database here, we can click on the database menu and then we can change the source. But if I go to the task database, for example, then you'll see that we don't have a source option here. So in order to create a linked view database, you would click on the database menu, click on copy link, and then you would paste it in. So I'm just going to paste it in here. Create linked view of database, select the view you want, and then now you'll see there's a source option. So you always need to have an original database, but if you want to create something like this, where it has different views for different databases, then you need to create a linked view. This is also the reason why inside of this database toggle, you'll be able to find all the original databases, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do something like this, where we have a view for the day database, a view for the weekly database, monthly database, quarterly and yearly database. So inside of this database, we have 5 different views connecting to 5 different databases, and the original databases that they connect to is inside of this database toggle. All right, now that you hopefully understand that concept, let's go ahead and add the finance tracker to this calendar view. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click plus, and then inside of source, I'm going to select the finance tracker database. So I'm just going to click on show more, select the finance tracker, And then I'm going to rename this view to finances. And then I'm also going to give it an icon. So let's just search for a money icon. And then I'm going to change this to a calendar view and also hide the database title. So now if I add a new database entry and for example, select expenses, and let's just do this 1, 2, 3 and go inside of the business group, go to the finance tracker and then go down to our income and expense tracker, you'll be able to see that new database entry has been added. And then the same thing I did for that calendar, I also did for the one inside the finance tracker. So the first view is for your subscriptions, which will show the renewal dates. You can add them in here. And then the second one shows your actual income and expenses. All right, so next is the template buttons. So if I click on this drop down next to new for the projects, you'll be able to see that we have one template button, which is set as default, which is literally just to add this icon for each new project. So if I click on new, you'll see that the icon has automatically been added. And the same goes for the tasks. We have this blue one, but we also have this red, pink, and purple ones, which are for the ABC tasks. So if you have a new week, then you just click inside of this, and then here you'll be able to set your absolute tasks. So the tasks you need to get done. The beneficial tasks, you can only start with these once the A tasks are done, and then the C tasks, which are ones that can go over into the next week, but you can only start with these once your B tasks are done. So if I go ahead and add dates to all of these, then you'll see that they will show up on the calendar, and they will also be color coded according to these template buttons. So if I go here, you'll be able to quickly see all your A tasks, your B tasks, and your C tasks. And then if we go down to the LifeOS, you'll be able to see that this one has a template button for just regular projects, one for YouTube, one for work, and one for personal. And then the tasks also has different template buttons. Now, all of these template buttons are already just for adding icons, except for YouTube, but I'll get to that one later. But if you want to add them into the Habit Tracker Hub's project and task management, all you do is you just click on this drop down next to new, click on new template, and then here you would add in the new template. So for example, YouTube, and then you would just give it an icon. And then you would just repeat this process for all of the project and task template buttons. So now if I change the default template button back to the empty one, and I click on new to add a new project. So this will be my new project. And then click on YouTube, it will automatically add an icon to this project. Now, if I create a new project inside of the LifeOS and use the YouTube template button, you'll see that it will also add a button that I can click, which will automatically add all the default YouTube tasks to this project. So for every new YouTube video, I need to, for example, script, record, and edit. So these would be default tasks that I would need to do every single time. So instead of adding in these tasks manually, you can just create a button that add pages to the task database and then automatically relate them to this page, which is this project. And then if you click this, it will automatically add these tasks to this project. And if I mark these tasks as complete, you'll be able to see the progress bar updating and this overview section, which will show how many completed and uncompleted tasks you still have left. Now let's go ahead and add this overview formula as well as this button. Now in order to move this button, I'm simply going to right click on move to, and then I'm going to select the YouTube projects template button. Now here I have to sort of guess which one, but you can always just rename one of the template buttons and then you will know which is the correct one. So I'm just going to choose the second one because usually the one that you've edited most recently will show up at the top. So let's just go inside of this projects template button, click on edit, and as you can see, the button is now inside of this projects template button inside the Habit Tracker Hub project and task management. Now at the moment, this button is still connected to the task database inside the LifeOS. So in order to change this, we're just going to edit the button and then change the database from the one inside the LifeOS to the one inside the Habit Tracker Hub. And then what you want to do is just select the relevant template button for the icon. And then the properties we're going to edit is going to be the name property. So this is going to be the name of your task. And then the date property needs to add today's date. And then for the project relation, we want to select this page. And then for the other ones, you can simply just delete these and then you can duplicate the one that you've already edited so you don't have to do everything again. And then you can simply just change the name. So now if I click on done and exit out of this template button and open up the YouTube project, click on the project template button and click on this default tasks button, you'll see that all of the tasks is automatically added and related to this project. And I can go ahead and mark these as complete and the progress bar will still update. Now for this overview formula, we're simply going to click on this formula and copy everything. And then we're going to go to the projects database, open up one of the database entries, and then add a formula property, which is going to be called overview. And then for this formula, we're simply going to paste it in. click on done, and now you'll see an overview of your tasks relating to this project. So the last thing we need to move over from the LifeOS project and task management is this time tracker. So I can click on start log to start tracking the time. And if I click on end log, it will show how long this task took. And if I mark the task as complete, it will get a checkbox and the color will change to green. Now again, I think it's worth mentioning that everything I'm covering in this video, whether it's the time tracker, the overview formula, or the YouTube projects button, I've already covered in depth in previous videos, which I'll leave links to in the description below, and they'll also be popping up as cards throughout this video. Alright, so for this time tracker, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our task database inside our Habit Tracker Hub. Then we're going to add a new property, and this one is going to be a date property, which will be called start date. Then we're going to duplicate this property, and we're going to rename it to end date. Then we're going to add two button properties. So the first one is going to be for start log. And the action for this button is going to be to add today's date and time to the start date. So we're going to change the start date property and choose the dynamic now option. And then we're going to duplicate this property and do the exact same for the end date. So this button is going to be called end log, and we're going to change the end date property to the dynamic now option. And now if we click on start log and end log, you'll see that it adds the date and time to the start and end date properties. And then once this is done, we can go back to the LifeOS task database, open up a database entry, click on the formula, copy everything, and then go back to the task database inside the Habit Tracker Hub, and then open up a new database entry and add a new formula property, which is going to be called time tracked. And then inside of this formula, we're just going to paste everything in, click on done. And now if I change the end date to, for example, tomorrow, it will show 1 day. And if I mark this task as complete, you'll see that the color will change. And now the last thing we want to do is just show the new properties. So inside of projects, go inside the database menu, go to properties, show the overview property, move it to the top. And then inside of layout, just toggle on wrap all properties. And then for the tasks, you want to just open up the menu, go to properties, and then here you want to add in the start log and the end log buttons, as well as the time tracking formula. Then for the order of the properties, we're just going to move the done checkbox property to the bottom with the projects on top, and then the time tracker above the start and end log buttons. So now here you'll be able to mark your task as complete. You'll be able to see the project, you have the start and end log buttons, and you'll be able to see how long the task took. And then it's up to you, but on the calendar you can show the start and end log buttons or just show the total time tracked. Alright, so now that the project and task management system is done, we can go down to the LifeOS and just highlight and delete everything. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to change the buttons inside of this quick create section. So if I just move it here to the bottom, you'll be able to see the actual names. And this first one is for creating new projects. Second one is for creating tasks. This one is for creating a new bullet journal. And then this one is for logging expenses or income. And then this one is for rescheduling your tasks to today. So for the project button, I'm simply going to edit this. Click on this project database button and then select the one inside the Habit Tracker Hub. And then I'm also going to select a default template button. Once this is done, we can do the exact same thing for our tasks. So edit the button, change the database to the one inside the Habit Tracker Hub, add a default task template button. And for the tasks, we also want to edit the date property and select today. Then let's go ahead and click on done and then move on to the next one. So this next one was for creating a new daily journal, which was linked to the Habit Tracker. But since we have our own Habit Tracker here, we don't need this button anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this button. Now the next button is for the finance tracker, so there's no need to change the database because we're already using the finance tracker that came with the LifeOS, so we can just keep this button the same. And then the last button is to reschedule all your overdue tasks. So for this button, we're also going to change the database to the one inside the Habit Tracker Hub. And then the property we're going to edit is going to be the date property, and we want to add today's date. And then the filter, aka to what database entries inside the task database do we need to add today's date. The filter for this is going to be where the done checkbox property is unchecked. And then we're going to add a filter rule and make sure this is and then we're going to change this to where the due date property is before today. So basically we're going to add today's date to all the database entries inside the task database where the done checkbox property is unchecked and the due date is before today, aka overdue tasks. And now if I click on done and go to the task database and then just move some of the tasks to yesterday and then go back down, click on the button, click on continue, then you'll see that all the tasks has been moved to today. Alright, so once this quick create section is done, we can go ahead and drag this callout box underneath the habit tracker and then we can also just press enter to create an empty block and then just drop it in between. Alright, so now all that's left is just this clock widget and the note section. So I'm just going to highlight both of these and then just drag them above the accountability partner. And then I'm also going to press enter and then just drag and drop this empty block in between the accountability partner and quick note section. And now we can scroll down and then just delete all of these unnecessary blocks. Now you can stop there because we're pretty much done. But if you want to change this to the aesthetics of the LifeOS, you would just highlight this, rename this to LifeOS. You would change the icon, and then you would also change the cover. And if you want to find more cool animated pixel covers like this that you can use for your Notion dashboard, then just check out my Pinterest board in the description below. And now everywhere else in your dashboard, you can just highlight the callout box text, change the color to green, for example, and then also change the icon color. I'm also going to do the same for this button, so I'm just going to change the color of the button to green, and then you basically just continue through the entire dashboard until everything is green. So now with our new and improved LifeOS, we can click on this button to load a new week. We can open up Monday, which will load all of the habit buttons. We can add today's date, which will make it show up on the accountability partner. We can add a week, which will make it show up here on the weekly view, as well as the monthly view, yearly view, and the quarterly view. And then we can click on these buttons to add our good and bad habits for today. So the good habits are the ones you want to add to your life, and the bad habits are the ones you want to remove. We can mark them as complete, which will update the progress, which will show up here, as well as on the accountability partner. So as you can see here, your daily habit progress for Monday is 60%. You still need to complete the following habits. And if I complete all of my good habits for today, I'll get a message that says, good job, you're slowly becoming the person you know you could be. If I complete all of my bad habits, I'll get a message that says, nice job, looks like you're stronger than your bad habits. And if I complete all of my habits, I'll get a message that says, well done, you're clearly disciplined and focused on improving your life. Keep it up, Chris. And inside of this day view, we also have a section for the tasks. So we can add a new task for today, which will also show up on the accountability partner. We can add a project to our task and also mark it as complete, which will give us a message that says, nice job, you completed all your daily tasks. Now go do something fun. We have a productivity journal with a cool inspirational quote to kill that bitch voice inside. You can log your work and personal focus for the day. You can add in notes, reflect on the day, add in a story-worthy moment. You can log your energy levels and your mood, and you can also add in a productivity score, which will also show up on this view. And then you'll also be able to see your weekly progress, your monthly progress, your quarterly progress, and also your yearly progress. Now you are able to add a new year to your habit tracker. You can add or remove habits in the future without changing the progress of the previous days. You can have specific habits for specific days, and there's absolutely no formulas for you to update. The link to the LifeOS and the Habit Tracker Hub, as well as the one we've created in this video, will be in the description below. If you learned anything new from this video, make sure to give this video a like. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.